Have you ever been having sex and realized you were in performance mode? As in, not really feeling or sensing what's going on. Just going through the motions to look sexy, to be loved, to perform well for your partner. Well, this is a dangerous pattern to continue because eventually your body will begin to protest. You might begin to experience pain during sex, not getting hard, ejaculating too soon, or experiencing low desire. This is your body's way of communicating to you that you need to stop performing and start feeling. Because our bodies want us to be in pleasure during sex and know that performing is not the way. It's not the way, honey. So in this video, I'm gonna be sharing about the difference between performance sex and embodied sex, and how to begin to move out of performance mode and into embodied mode. Hello, my friend. My name is Haley Friend Wilson, and I am a certified embodiment and somatic sexuality guide trained in the research method of the embodied psychosexual method created by Dr. Saida Desilets. And I share in this video and future videos from this perspective, from my own personal experience and from working with clients. So let's get into it. What's the difference between performance sex and embodied sex? In a nutshell, performance sex is going through the motions of sex, performing your sexuality, but not actually feeling or sensing it in your body. Embodied sex is the ability to actually feel the sensations of pleasure in your body, to know how to expand those sensations, play with those sensations, to know how to even sense into somebody else's body. Also, the ability to feel and sense pain, to know how to transform that pain, to move away from that pain, to be in your body, in your being as you are having sex, to basically be conscious, fully conscious in the act. Performance sex oftentimes is just feeling numb, going through the motions, maybe even having pain, and continuing to do it as a way of performing what you think your sexuality should look like without actually sensing or feeling into how that really is landing in your body. So why does this happen? What's going on? You should go back to my last video on how we are all socialized out of our erotic intelligence, which is the root of all sexual imbalance and all of this. So if you have not watched that video, go back to that video. Ultimately, most of us, especially in the Western world, socially conditioned out of our erotic intelligence, our connection to our sexuality. We are taught that sexuality is bad, shameful, and wrong. We're also taught to disconnect from our bodies because that's where our sexuality lives. And so disconnect from our body, disconnect from our sexuality, believe that our bodies are really only here to be a vehicle for our intellect and for productivity. And so then what happens is that as we age and mature and grow and the very natural, beautiful biological impulse starts to happen for us to want to explore our sexuality, the issue is that then at that point in time, most of us have only ever seen sexuality as a performance in media, in movies, in pornography. And so our entire sex education has been performance sex, people actually performing their sexuality, not feeling, not sensing. And so then when we want to experience our sexuality, we go into performance mode because that's what we've been taught. We've been taught to disconnect from our sexuality, disconnect from our body. And then when we want to experience it, all we know is to perform this thing. And so this is not your fault. This is because you've been taught these things and you have not been taught how to connect with your body in an embodied, authentic way, how to explore pleasure in an embodied, authentic way. So what is the harm of this? We have to really understand the harm to understand why we would want to break out of it. So before I go into this, I want to say I'm throwing no shade here. I could have a PhD in performance sex. So this is not me saying all y'all are having performance sex and I'm the only one having embodied sex. No, it's taken me years to break out of this pattern. And I'm still breaking out of this pattern. And so we're doing this together, y'all. And I'm going to talk about why it's harmful. So for those of you who have vulvas or having, vaginal sex, anal sex, being penetrated, the harm of having performance sex is oftentimes bypassing your body's no, because our bodies don't always want to be penetrated. It's a lot to be penetrated. And so your body doesn't always want to be penetrated. And so if you're in performance mode, you're oftentimes not listening to your body's yes and no, bypassing that no, which can result in pain. Also, even sometimes maybe if you are a yes, maybe sex is happening that's too rough, there's too much friction, there's not enough foreplay, maybe the angle is wrong, the position is wrong. And so maybe because you're not totally fully in tune with your body, the pain maybe doesn't happen in the moment, but happens afterwards. You're in pain. So again, all of these things is not your fault. It's because you were not taught, one, that your genitals are sacred and intelligent and worthy of love, respect, and patience. Two, that you can want to be sexual without wanting penetration. Three, that how to actually explore pleasure in your body in a way that feels authentic and good. And four, how to communicate what you want. So because you were never taught these things, because you were taught to disconnect from your sexuality and your body and be in performance mode, then to actually slow down and begin sensing and feeling feels inaccessible and feels scary. I know it did for me. And so I'm going to help you. Again, we're breaking out of this. So for those of you with penises, how this can look is not getting hard, or not getting hard all the way, or ejaculating too soon. Because again, you're in performance mode. You are putting too much pressure on your body to perform, to always be hard, to always be ready, to last long, to always want penetration. And bypassing your body's signal, bypassing your body's no. And that mixed with the shame, the disconnection, mixed with also years of masturbating in a super jackhammer kind of way, desensitizing your body, and probably to some porn with some people having some disembodied performance sex, resulting in you being desensitized, disembodied from yourself. Because of the same reasons, y'all, I'm going to name them again, because nobody taught you that your genitals are sacred, intelligent, worthy of love, respect, and patience. Two, that you can want to be sexual without wanting penetration. Three, how to explore your body in an authentic, pleasurable, embodied way. And four, how to communicate what you want, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And again, winding up in this place of not knowing how to connect and where maybe slowing down and sensing feels inaccessible and even scary. So y'all, let's turn this ship around, because our bodies are actually hardwired for pleasure, designed for pleasure. This is the good news. And so it's just a matter of learning to deconstruct this conditioning, this performance conditioning, and reconnect to our bodies. So this is a levels thing, y'all. This is not a once and done. What I've learned is there's levels and stages. So I'm going to go into level 1 right now of how to reconnect. And there'll be level 2 in future videos, probably 3, 4, because I know for myself and a lot of people, the level of disembodiment can be extreme. And so we have to take it in steps of how to come into what I believe the deepest level of embodiment is in our sexuality, but we can't go right there because we got to open up some other layers first. So how this begins is first tuning into your embodied yes and your embodied no. So how does that look? Embodied yes feels like an opening, feels like energy growing in the body, feels like expansion. And I want you to practice this on your own. a different time, tuning into things you are a yes to in your life. Like, I'm a yes to dance. I'm a yes to jasmine tea. I'm a yes to the forest and the trees. I'm a yes to sunbathing and feeling the sun on my skin. So feeling into all of the things you are yes to, how that yes feels in your body. And then tuning into the things you're a no to, right? And what that no usually feels like a closing down or a turning in. And so begin to tune into your embodied yes and your embodied no throughout your day with what you want to eat, what you want to drink, what you want to do, who you want to hang out with. Tune in to that experience in your body just in an everyday kind of way. And then in other areas of your life, beginning to examine, where am I performing instead of feeling? So this might look like performing in terms of exercise in order to look good, in order to be approved of, in order to be loved. And so, working out in order to be sexy. Instead, shifting that and saying, I'm going to exercise to feel good, to feel alive. So I'm going to dance. I'm going to do this dance because I want to feel my aliveness. I want to feel my creative expression, not because I want to be approved of and do it perfectly. Or I'm going to play basketball because I want to feel alive, not because I need to be the best and have somebody watch me and see me and approve of me. No, because it brings me joy. So just making that shift of I'm doing this to feel good, to feel alive. Same with the clothes that you wear, wearing clothes that feel good, not because this is what is socially accepted of you or expected of you or in style. No, wear clothes that make you feel good in your body. Again, same reorientation when you groom yourself in the mirror, styling your hair, doing your makeup or whatever it is you do to groom yourself. Do it with the intention of honoring your unique beauty. And instead of doing it with a rushed kind of or anxious feeling of like, I need to look perfect or I need to be, to be loved and analyzing all your flaws, instead affirm your beauty in the mirror. Do this as an act of self-love, as an act of self-care, to feel good, to appreciate your unique beauty. All of these things are going to help you start to drop into your body and out of performance mode. And then to take this a layer deeper as it relates to sex, I want you to get out your journal. This is your home play moment. And begin to write about when you have been in performance sex mode. What was happening? What were you thinking? What were you feeling? What were you sensing? So, was this, I know for me, it was having sex when I didn't want to because I believed that that's what I needed to do to be loved. Or maybe for you, it's having sex, maybe you want to, but it didn't really feel great. It could feel better and you didn't know how to communicate. This was also something I dealt with, like even when I wanted to and it didn't quite feel right, but I didn't feel access to my voice or ability to speak what I wanted or say what I didn't wanted or say when I needed to pause. So begin to analyze what's going on. Also for me, times when I could tell the other person was really enjoying themselves. I was not enjoying myself, but I didn't want to, that people pleaser part, that didn't want to put this other person out or stop their good time, even if it was at my own expense, even if it was at my own suffering. So I had to examine all of those different ways of what's going on when I'm performing. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? So begin to investigate that for yourself because we have to become conscious of it in order to shift it. So beginning to identify those limiting beliefs that you might have about sexuality. I know for me, it was the limiting belief that I need to give sex in order to be loved. And then begin to flip those limiting beliefs, rewire those limiting beliefs. And so I'm just going to read from my journal here to y'all. That's how much I love you, about my process of doing this. So what this looked like for me rewriting this was, people who truly love me don't want me to do things that hurt me. When I say no and set a boundary, I am loved more. Speaking up when I'm in pain makes me safe. Those who love me only want my pleasure. I am loved just for being me. I don't need to give sex to be loved. Sex can help me feel good in my body when I explore it with conscious breath and touch and communication. Those who love me want to meet my needs for physical intimacy with no expectations of sex. Men don't always want sex. I go on, there's more, but you get the idea. So begin to start to reframe these limiting beliefs. Then in the embodied, because that's the psychosexual piece, we got to work with the psyche and then the somatics of the body. So the somatic piece is beginning to work with a heart-genital connection. So the reason why we want to do this is because our heart and our genitals are connected energetically, physically, through the vagus nerve that runs all the way through the core of our body, also energetically. So beginning to breathe a feeling of love, warmth, and respect from your heart. And bring that down into your genitals. Imagine that you're sending that energy down into your genitals. And breathing with hand on heart, hand on genitals. You can do this 5 minutes in the morning or 5 minutes in the evening. And begin to feel an energetic connection and begin to wake up your consciousness, your embodied ability to feel and sense in your body in this way. So, this is something you can reprogram. I'm going to go deeper into this in future videos. This is a great place to start. If you want to go deeper with me, this is what I do, people. This is what I do with people. So you can work with me one-on-one. If you are in Ashland, Oregon, I'm going to be offering an in-person sensual embodiment workshop for women, 6-week series starting the end of September. Online, I'm offering my Sexual Alchemy for Men course starting mid-October. And there's more offerings, more things that I'll be doing coming up. So if you want to stay connected, you can get on my email list. Once a month emails. I do not flood your inbox. And I really hope that this video has served you to begin to start to deconstruct this and come home to your body, because you are worthy of feeling good. You are worthy of experiencing sexuality in a way that feels alive, that feels electric, that feels embodied and connected, and you can get there. It's possible. I want to acknowledge that I'm recording this video on the indigenous land of the Siletz, Modoc, and Tacoma people. It is my hope in acknowledging this that I can help to bring awareness and support to the Land Back movement. Link below if you want to donate to this movement. And thank you so much for being here. Wishing you so much embodied pleasure, connection. Be well.